more to prove this season, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick?
We'll be able to fill a full week of trash on why Brady is no good if he doesn't play well. That's pressure.
I can't do his job and he can't do mine. Would I be successful without him? The same level of success? I don't believe I would have been, but I feel the same vice versa as well.
We've played it other times, without Tom. We'll do what we always do, is try to prepare the team the best that we can.
Schedule release day for the NFL. The highlight, though, Tom Brady's slate, Week 4 in Foxborough.
And that might be the most anticipated NFL game in the history of the sport.
Tom Brady is going back to Foxborough and bringing his world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Everyone's going to want to see this. Brady versus Belichick. Can't wait.
Locked and loaded on a Thursday. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take.
Friday Eve.
Did you hear my tease? I can't use it again.
Oh.
Right? The one and only Max Kellerman. Super Bowl champ Chris Canty. Monday Night Football's Louis Riddick. There he is, looking clean. How we doing, Lou? Good to have you with us.
I'm doing good. I've been watching y'all this week. Chris, you're doing a good job, man. Don't ever let Max get the best of you. Ever.
Look at this dude. I got you, Lou. You know I'm not going to back down for anything. Especially Max.
What are you taking a break from your job as a blackjack dealer? Okay. What are you talking about?
Let's go fashion, please. The 2021 schedule has been released. Yeah. Get fired up for it. And I got this juicy matchup for you. Tom Brady, the face of Foxborough, returning to face the coach who won 6 rings with Bill Belichick and possibly Cam Newton or the rookie Mac Jones at the helm. That goes down October 3rd. The Patriots ended the season with 7 wins, while we all know how Tampa Bay's season has ended. Max, what scenario is more likely? Brady repeats or Bill misses the playoffs again?
Right. Are they going to run it back again? Which scenario is more likely to run it back? That Belichick misses the playoffs again. And I like the Patriots. I like what they did. I think they have a good shot to make the playoffs. But the AFC East is suddenly no cupcake. Remember, for decades, 2 decades, literally, Tom Brady, the best guy he ever had to face, was for a minute Chad Pennington when he was healthy. That was it. He never had to face, literally, never had to face a real quarterback in 20 years in that division. So what would happen with the Patriots? All they ever had to do was win one playoff game at home. And they're in the AFC Championship game. Boy, times have changed. Because you look around the AFC East, we'll see what happens with the Jets and Zach Wilson. I'm not hoping for much this season. But the Bills look like Super Bowl contenders. And the Dolphins do too to me, depending on how Tua develops. But I'll tell you what, Waddle's going to help them. They had a no-name defense that went after it. They have a much more dynamic offense now. Remember, these quarterbacks generally, year 2 is the development year. That's when they take off. Yeah, I mean, and the Dolphins just won double digits. That's actually a very tough division, Chris, as you pointed out the other day.
Yeah, I said it was the toughest division in football. You took the NFC West. But, I mean, here's the thing. The Patriots are not going to go back-to-back seasons outside of the playoffs. It just ain't going to happen. Since Bill Belichick took the job, we haven't seen it, and that was 21 years ago. So I do anticipate them being able to make it back, which is why I'm going to say it's more likely that Tom Brady goes back-to-back. And I'm not going to say run it back, because I know how Bruce Arians feels about that. I'm saying that they're going to go for 2, and they're going to make it 2 based on what they have coming back. The first time a Super Bowl champ has returned all 22 starters, and we saw that they signed Antonio Brown as well. When you look at what their schedule was when the NFL released it last night, the Patriots, they have the easiest strength of schedule of any of the playoff teams from a year ago, and they don't play but one playoff team in the first 6 weeks of the season. Plus, they have the bye week falling exactly where they want it. But beyond all of that, the fact that this group is coming back together, that they do have continuity, and they do have the confidence coming off of a Super Bowl win, that's going to mean a whole lot to them this coming season. Because as somebody that's won a Super Bowl, I know what it feels like going into that next season, having the formula for success. This Patriots team this Patriots team is not going to be as bad as it was, but this Buccaneers team, they're ready to rock and roll and make another title push.
Yeah, things sure are set up for Tampa Bay, aren't they? It looks like, the scheduling gods hooked them up. They hooked them up right out of the gate. They gave them a Thursday night game. Then they gave them basically 2 byes because, when you have the Thursday night game, then you have 10 days in between the first game and your second game. So they'll use that to kind of be able to catch their breath a little bit, see how that first game went, and then attack Atlanta with as their first divisional matchup and then get on going. And then they have the bye right in the middle of the season, which is just perfect. You know how many teams have byes that are like week 13, week 14, teams that are playing 13 games, basically a long college football season on top of 3 preseason games before they even get a chance to take a breath. I mean, think of the NFC East. Think of the way their schedules are set up. Think of the Philadelphia Eagles. Nick Sirianni, the new head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, he's probably sitting there going, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? They set me up like this in my maiden voyage as a head coach? Look, Tampa Bay has it all working for them in order for them to go ahead and try and have a repeat scenario play out for them. As far as New England is concerned, I don't think there's any chance that they miss the playoffs, okay? I think these are 2 separate conversations. I just don't think there's any chance. I think this football team now fundamentally is built the way Bill has always wanted it to be built, which is on the inside out, from front to back. The offensive and defensive lines are strong. The running game is going to be strong. They are never again going to have happen to them what they had happened to them late in the season last year when the Miami Dolphins just said, you know what? We're not even going to throw the football. We're just going to run this thing down your throat to the tune of like 300-plus yards rushing on the ground. We're going to make it look like the old 1978 Oklahoma Sooners against the Kansas Jayhawks, and we're just going to go ahead and embarrass you. Because I have to remember, we talked to Bill after that had happened to Miami before they played Buffalo late in the season on Monday Night Football. He fundamentally changed this football team from a personnel standpoint. They're going to come out swinging this year. They're going to wind up, I think they're going to wind up getting a wild card spot, if not challenge for the AFC East crown, and they'll be back to their old winning ways.
Well, look, I think they are planning to win a Super Bowl this year. Like, that's the mission, and they have chances. I think people are sleeping on Cam. But the question is, what's more likely, right? They are in a tough division. I don't know whether they are the best, second best, or third best team in their own division. But now let's talk for a second about the Bucs. Yes, they have a cupcake schedule. Yes, they will make the playoffs. And Drew Brees isn't even there anymore to compete against Tom Brady. Beat him twice in the regular season, not when it mattered most. But look at the other teams in the NFC before we even get to the AFC, talking about repeat as champions. And I know a whole season with Antonio Brown, that's a whole, people aren't even really conceptualizing how much better he may make them that way. But everyone in the NFC West has been in the Super Bowl recently, except Arizona, who looks a lot better to me on paper now in Kyler Murray's 3rd year. And that's the year the quarterbacks usually turn into superstars. And I look at the Rams with Stafford, and I think of what McVay did with Goff and how much better he perceives Stafford than Goff. Here's 2 firsts and a third and Goff for Stafford. That offense is going to be a whole lotta, and we already know about that defense. You think LaFleur is going to take the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands with the game on the line again? Because the Packers could have won that game against the Bucs. Not to mention, when you get to the Super Bowl, if Kansas City's waiting for you, and I believe they will be, guys, he ain't running for his life on every play anymore. They revamped that offensive line, got the best guy on the market at guard, left guard, and the best left tackle on the trade market. That's a whole different ball game. No, the Bucs are loaded and they have chances, but repeating is really hard in this NFL.
Yeah, repeating is hard, Max, but when you look at this Tampa Bay team, I just feel like it's all set up for them to be able to do so. I mean, when you look at it, Tom Brady has been in the conference championship game 9 out of the last 10 years. So, I mean, that means he's in the Final Four. So he's going to have a chance to compete at a really high level. And beyond that, the organization is committed to giving him whatever he wants. That Tampa Bay Buccaneers team is going to be better. That young secondary with continuity is going to continue to improve. They added on the defensive line. That offensive line with Tristan Wirfs, they should be better with having a year's worth of work together under their belt. Like, this group is going to progress. They're not going to stay the same. They're going to improve. And one of the biggest things that happened in Tampa last year was Tom Brady with the culture change. They now expect to win. They understand what it takes to win, the kind of work that they have to put in week to week in order to be consistent. And they're also going to understand that everybody in the NFL is looking at them differently because they're the champs. And you know why? Because Tom Brady has experience being the hunted under those circumstances. So I get it. Only 8 teams in the history of the NFL have ever repeated as champions, but Tom Brady was on one of those teams, and that's why I think the Bucs have a really good shot at doing it in 2021.
Yeah, what's really interesting also about them is this. Look, this is a team that, quite honestly, at the end of last year, everyone was looking at as really, when you think about the head coach in his methodology and his philosophical approach to really letting the players take charge of the football team. Look, Bruce talked about the fact that he stepped back and in many instances allowed Tom to coach the football team. I think they're on the cutting edge in that regard. I think offensively and defensively, from a coordinator standpoint, look, they have both guys returning. Todd Bowles didn't get a head coaching job. Byron Leftwich didn't get a head coaching job. How many times do you see that happen? How many times do you see a team that wins the Super Bowl have both coordinators return? Keith Armstrong returns as a special teams coordinator. They have everything back in place in terms of key decision makers on the coaching staff, people in the front office. No one poached their front office either. Jason Light has his entire staff back together again. As long as this team stays healthy, given how the schedule sets up for them, I think it's definitely more likely that they go ahead and make a repeat and run it back again and win a second Super Bowl title than it is for New England to miss the playoffs. Because I'll just say this, flipping over to that